Alright guys, welcome to the first ever Cooking with the Common Sense Conservative on the Common Sense Conservative cooking channel, the CSC cooking channel. And for the first thing we're going to cook chicken enchiladas. Now for everybody who's been following me on the big channel, you guys have heard about these chicken enchiladas. You guys have heard about my wife barbecuing them. And so we're actually going to do that today as well. We're going to barbecue them, and you guys are going to see how I prepare them. So,
this is one of the few things that I'm okay with chicken breast on. So you just get yourself a little chicken breast here, sit her on down. Make sure you got a nice sharp knife. And some of you might like shredded chicken. I do not. I like chunk chicken. So, cut it in half, and then I just kind of chunk it up. Because I like chewing on food. I like knowing that I have food in my mouth. And shredded chicken's just weird. Nobody wants that. So, this is about as big as you want them. But, you know, good size. Just big enough that you know that you're chewing on stuff. Alright. Then,
and now we throw it in the pan. So a lot of people throw oil in it. There's my wife, see her? Did you see her? Aha, yeah, she's smoking. Anyway, so a lot of people add oil to the pans. I do not, because chicken is usually juicy as it is. So if you stick it in there, throw it on there, it'll simmer for a while, and then all the wonderful juices will flow, and then, well, we're gonna use those juices. My wife did a little prepping.
so you want to spread it out pretty good. Just kind of make a nice little even layer. You don't really want to cook it on high, just maybe medium high. And now I will add my special blend of herbs and spices.
Now if you guys like Costco, bam, love this stuff. It is amazing. I put it on pretty much everything, but you don't need to season it up too much. You can definitely use your own seasoning, but this is amazing. And don't worry, I'm not one of those guys who's like, oh yeah, so I got this here seasoning there and the coriander, and I got the other stuff here, and I spiced it all up on myself, and then I put it in my little bowl here with my little curmudgeon thing, and I just made my own spices. No, I don't do that. I am basic. I make good food. You don't need all this fancy stuff to make good food. And just wait, because some of these ingredients you're gonna be like, I don't even want to try it. You need to do it. You need to try it. It's yummy.
So just a nice little spice here, just so it's there, because it's good. So it's got, what it's got here? It's got some garlic and herb, and dried garlic, salt, dried onion, dried red bell pepper, oregano, thyme, basil, parsley. Don't know what that is. And certified organic. I don't want it anymore. Stupid. After you put your spices on there, stir it up pretty good. And as you can see, it is already starting to whiten.
And now we wait. So while you're waiting for this to cook, I always take this time to grate some cheese. Unless you buy it in a bag already pre-grated, which we have a little bit of that too. But fun fact, I know a lot of people eat, orange cheddar cheese. White cheddar melts beautifully. It melts phenomenally.
So give this another quick once over. It cooks pretty fast, and when it is done, you have to move quickly.
this is very important. You cook the chicken in this. Told you I was basic.
You don't drain it. You don't drain the juices out of the chicken. You don't do any of that. You just add the sauce and you let it simmer for a while. Mix it in real good. And then it finishes cooking with the sauce in there.
So also, as most of you are aware, I am on the keto diet. It's working out fantastic. I have finally gotten below 300 pounds for the first time in like 6 years, 7 years. It's like, well, actually, it's probably been a lot longer than that. So, yay, it works. I've lost over 50 pounds off of the keto diet, and it's from eating stuff like this. Fantastic. So, as part of the whole keto diet thing, we're using carb balance tortillas. And no, none of these brands or whatever are paying me to do this. Gosh, I wish they would though.
All right, so our chicken is done. Go ahead and turn that off, stir it up one last time to get that kind of little foamy stuff off the top there. Now we go to the assembly. So, the way I do this kind of like an assembly line. So I get my tortilla and set them on top here, pull them all out because you're going to use them. Then you get the cheese. And you get a little plate to kind of just build upon. Now remember, white boy, I'm getting better, but this is how it goes. So you grab your tortilla, set her on the plate, get some chicken. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit right there, just like that. Maybe a little bit more, but this is pretty much how you're wanting to portion all of this stuff out, just like that. Got some red sauce in there, and you do this with the spatula, right? You don't want to do it with a spoon, or you're going to drown it with the red sauce, and you don't want that, because then the red sauce becomes a little overbearing. Throw some cheese on there like so, and again, white cheddar is amazing. It melts beautifully. Wrap it, roll it. Not very good. Oops. One thing, before you start putting stuff in there, it helps to spray it down. Is that what you're going to yell at me for? Think about it. You want it rolled in? Now that it's sprayed down, we can put them in there. See? Look at that. It fits perfectly. The thing about using these small tortillas is that you can line them up in a pan like this, doubled up all the way down. I want to see how you do it. And you want the ratio to cheese and chicken to be about 50-50. So, do it like so. And for some reason I always get a little corner out. I don't know why. I'm not the best rapper in the world. And as you can see, my wife is laughing at me because I'm not laughing at you. It's just not in my blood to wrap tortillas. I don't have the genetic boost, shall we say, to do that. It's racist. It's not racist if it's true. And please don't. It's so weird how different people do things. I'm fairly confident she's going to take over here for, and she's going to tell me that I can't do this anymore because I'm making it so horrible. Oh, look at that! It's perfect! Do you see it? Do you see it? Oh, and it's so nice. I had a good teacher.
Your mom?
Yep, maybe you.
Oh my gosh, she taught you?
Yes.
But that's not the way I do it.
One thing for sure, while you are doing this with a spatula, it can get a little messy. Just clean up after yourself or your wife yells at you. She's watching me.
Oh my gosh. That is a good.
Trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, oh, but 2 hours of pushing broom buys a 8 by 12 full bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means, king of the road. I know everything.
I know every engineer on every train, all of their children and all of their names, and every handout in every town, and every lot that ain't locked when no one's around. I sing trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, oh, but 2 hours of pushing broom buys a 8 by 12 full bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means, king of the road.
Yeah, I sing a lot. I'll admit it. That and, you know, I mean, if we're sitting here just watching me do this, might as well make it a little more entertaining.
So let me tell you guys a little something about myself since I'm still doing this. I got my love of cooking from my mother, who passed away a few years ago, about 6 years ago. It's very unfortunate because she never got to see me doing any of this stuff. I started doing all this stuff after she passed away. But she was always a person who just always gave everything. She was always a giver. She always volunteered her time to church service, church retreats, and women's retreats, and church camps and stuff like that. Family gatherings. She was always cooking. She loved to cook and just feed people. And it's funny because I am incapable of cooking for two. I cook for leftovers, and it's because of my mom. I was always raised kind of country living, and she cooked country style. And so when I met my wife, who had a very, very different upbringing than I did, especially culinary, she had no idea most of the food and stuff that I cooked. She's never had it before. She actually was raised that pig was a sin. It's horrifying. It's child abuse. Oh. But so I've introduced her to pig, pork belly, you betcha, good stuff, and and a whole bunch of other foods that she used to call gelatinous. Kind of gives you an idea about the kind of stuff I cook. Gelatinous food. And gelatinous, for those of us who were not raised that kale was good for you and that kale was even a thing. I didn't know that kale existed until I was about 22 years old. So again, gives you an idea about my upbringing. But gelatinous is code for comfort food, edible food, good food. And she loves gelatinous food now. You guys are gonna see all of this good stuff. Unfortunately, most of my gelatinous food is not keto friendly, but still delicious. So now that we've wrapped it all up and we've placed them in the pan, we want to add the next wonderful ingredient, which is more cheese.
So now we're adding the other cheese. Main thing about adding the other cheese, you just want a nice layer on top. There really is no such thing as too much cheese, but the cheese is going to be an indicator as to when it is done. So you put a nice layer on top here. And again, we're using this white cheddar. It melts so good. It melts amazingly. Nice layer of cheese on top. And you get some more. And if you want to get creative, you can add another layer of. Now, this is just generic cheese, but it's got some Wisconsin, New York, and Vermont sharp cheddar in it. Gives it a little bit more flavor, a little bit more zest, and it's good for you.
And now, to make it actually Christmas enchiladas.
You're gonna wrap it.
So because I was raised on a farm, and because I was raised where food was, you know, gravy and potatoes and corn and, you know, stuff like that, I don't really like spicy. I don't really like hot food. I like the flavor. I don't like the burn. Like, why would you eat anything that hurts? I don't understand it whatsoever. But today, I'm gonna ramp it up just a little bit to make other people happy. And that is number 2, making it Christmas, red on the inside, green on the outside, and this is medium. Like I said, if you like a little bit of heat, medium's a good way to go. I don't suggest going any hotter because, again, you want to taste it, you don't want to feel it. Either direction. So,
you pretty much just evenly pour it out over the top of the cheese. You want to make sure you fill in the cracks because it ends up mixing a wonderful sauce that melts and mixes in with the cheese, and you just want to make sure it gets all smothered. Now, when I lived in New Mexico, they call enchiladas something completely different than you're used to with your regular Tex-Mex food that you get from like a restaurant. In New Mexico, they call these smothered burritos, which technically they are smothered burritos, but if you go to a Tex-Mex restaurant, they're, you know, enchiladas.
and in my kitchen, they're enchiladas. All right? Right. So if you have a little leftover chicken, let's say you filled them all up and there's just a little bit more chicken in the pan, 2 things you can do with it. Me personally, I like saving them and making like a maybe a burrito or something afterwards. Or you could do, they're really great in a quesadilla. It's delicious in a quesadilla. But
my wifey likes it when we put it over the top of the enchiladas, and it gives it a little bit more color and a little bit more something to chew on. As you can see, I'm a very good wrapper, and there's not very much chicken left over.
And now we take them out there and we put them on the barbecue. So one of the things that's very important when you're barbecuing enchiladas is that you want to make sure that it's not down directly on the burner. You want them up a little bit. So what we do here is we have a little bowl that we have upside down. I'm going to scooch it more towards the middle and set this guy right on top. This way it gives it a little bit more of a oven effect instead of, you know, otherwise if you don't do that, it's going to burn the crap out of the bottom of it and it's not going to be as great. And then you close her down.
And now you wait until the cheese is good and melted. Once the cheese is good and melted, because remember, the chicken on the inside is already cooked. So as soon as the cheese is melted, it's ready to go. And you kind of want to keep it between 300 and 350 degrees. Otherwise, it can get a little scorched. So keep it around 300, 350, and wait for the cheese to melt.
you guys could see smells. This is amazing. First time my wife has ever been a camera person.
Sorry.
Bam.
One thing that my wife likes to do is she gets Walla Walla sweet onions and bell peppers. Now, I will eat the onions, but I won't touch the peppers with a 10-foot pole. And she sautés them, cooks them down, adds a little bit of seasoning and spice. And she loves them on top of her enchiladas. I am good with sour cream sometimes, but that is as far as I will go.
Okay.
And now we serve.
And now we make a mess.
Yes, it's pretty hard to avoid making a mess for this. Look at that. Look at that cheese. Look at the goo.
Doesn't taste